Hello and welcome to Box, the football talk show brought to you by Sportology TV with myself, Ali Drew, and my co-host Uni. On last week's episode, we were joined by Sky Sports' JD Dyer and former Aston Villa player Lee Hendry. So if you haven't already, make sure you check those episodes out. But on this week's episode, our guest is from The Athletic UK and host of Beyond the Athlete podcast. We are delighted to be joined by Richard Amofa. Richard, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi guys, no, thanks for having me. Really good, thank you. Really good. Looking forward to it.
Richard, how's life treating you at this present time? You know, a lot of people so struggling out there, but you know, luckily you're in that field where you get to follow the things that you love, which is probably football. So just say, how's life been for you in the last 12 months?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You know, obviously really lucky that kind of able to kind of work in the field that I'm in, and obviously, you know, it's obviously a passion of mine and passion of everyone's, and obviously lucky that football is obviously still going, keeping us all busy, I guess. And so hopefully we're just producing the great content that's keeping everyone entertained and informed and up to date, really. So I wouldn't say providing, like, you know, or say me, I wouldn't say we're providing a service that, you know, everyone else is, but I just say keeping on top of your club and everything like that, you know. Fans are still engaged, so it's really important. And
just talk to us about how you sort of got into the field of work that you're in. You know, what was your journey?
What from day one, or just
just your career as a whole? You know, what got you into it?
Well, again, I grew up playing football, I guess. So QPR up until 16. She didn't get offered anything like a scholar or anything, but I thought, you know, I wanted to stay within the industry. How close could I stay within football without actually playing football, kind of thing. Journalism was like the next best thing. Obviously seeing all the journalists on the training ground and stuff, I thought, oh, okay, I can be involved in that. So just kind of, you know, got my head down and just kind of tried to forge a career, really. So it started off with just like, I had a blog which focused on academy footballers coming through the system. And you know, that did quite well, and then it just, you know, started opening up doors and opportunities, really. You know, started working at various newspapers and stuff, and then just kind of got my foot in the door and just went from there, really.
Nice. You know, a lot of people sort of, it's always good hearing people's stories on how they've got involved in sort of the job that they love and the job and the sport that they love. So yes, it's always good hearing. Richard, I want to talk about probably tonight's football more than anything at this present time. England 5-0 against San Marino. Just talk to me about the performance. You know, a few of the strikers got the goals that they probably wanted against someone like San Marino. We know Calvert-Lewin got 2 goals. Raheem Sterling, who's sort of been lacking goals this season, got his goal. And Ollie Watkins, always good to see Ollie Watkins and James Ward-Prowse, 2 people new to the England setup, get onto the score sheet as well. Just give me your thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's difficult to kind of gauge, isn't it? Because, you know, we always, you know, the result's only going to go one way, isn't it? I guess the question is by how many, you know, England going to win. I was really impressed, especially in the first half, just with the intensity, because normally these kind of games, as we've seen in the past, especially with England as well, was, you know, a lot of, you know, just maybe keeping the ball but not really penetrating. But as you saw, we created so many chances. You know, definitely should have been more than 5-0, to be fair. I think that's the only like disappointment I think that they would have, is that they didn't score as many goals as probably they should have done. But especially in the first half, I was really impressed with the movement, with the, you know, quick passing and, you know, getting the ball side to side and getting in behind. It's just a shame that they just couldn't take the chances which they created.
And do you think it's a positive? Obviously, there's a lot of young players that are, you know, coming through, making their England debuts and performing well. I think at this stage, I think that this is one of the strongest England teams and strength and depth that they've had for quite a long time.
Yeah, you're spot on there. I think in every position, there's at least 2 or 3 players who you know, one regularly competing at the top level in the Premier League or in leagues abroad now. And it's only good to have that competition. As you say, everyone's pushing each other. Everyone, you know, I guess before we know that, okay, you know, you could probably name the 23-man squad, you know, just like that. But now there's so many, you know, options. You know, it's a headache for Southgate, of course, but, you know, we need that. And as I say, it keeps everyone on their toes. So, yeah, I think it's, compared to the previous years, probably in terms of like excitement level for the England squad, I'm definitely, excited about this current crop. I'm probably more excited than I have been in a while.
Yeah, the question I've got to ask then is, we know the Euros are coming up this summer. How far can this England team go? Because as an England fan, man, you know what? That last time they pushed us and there was hope. We all had hope. The nation was going mad. The nation started celebrating like we won it already, but obviously we didn't. And then Croatia put us our own misery, man. This time around, how far do you think they can go?
There's no reason why England can't go all the way. You say they've got the talent there. I think the issue has always been against that top quality opposition. Have we got enough nous to get over the line? We can see that, we can definitely challenge and cause problems for a lot of countries. It's just whether we can kind of hold our nerve. Because you mentioned the Croatia game, when Trippier scored that free kick, as you said, we thought, that was it, we're in the final. I don't think we'll win it. I think there are a couple of nations who are stronger. Obviously, you've got France, Belgium, etc. But why not? Especially knockout football. All it takes is a couple of things to go your way, a bit of luck here and there. We've got the talent to do it, so I can't see why we couldn't.
I do have to give a shout out to Wales as well. They did very well.
You've got to shout out.
Wales are very good also.
I had to get that in there.
But who do you feel like is the dark horse in the Euros? Because there's always a dark horse in every sort of cup competition. Who do you feel like it's going to be this time?
Good question. Say when you say dark horses, I mean, I want to say Portugal. I know they've got a tough group, but if you look at their squad, I say that dark horses. I mean, obviously, I think France are my favourites, but in terms of like the talent that Portugal have got and the depth that they've got as well, they can definitely cause problems. Like if they can get out of their group, I know they've got a tough group. Obviously, say France, Germany as well. I think Portugal can cause a lot of teams problems, and we know how well they did in the Nations League. Not last year, the year before. So they've got a real talented bunch there. So in terms of dark horses, I'd say Portugal, but I'd say my favourites would be France.
Okay, that's good. We do need to talk about last weekend's football. FA Cup quarterfinals happened last weekend, and the FA Cup always seems to throw up, I guess, dark horses that come through or surprises. Not really how you think they would go. What have you made of the sort of this FA Cup stages so far, and the sort of what's to come?
I think it's been good so far. I think, normally with the FA Cup, in recent years, it's been difficult to kind of get people, not say get them on board, but, because obviously the league always takes precedence. So it's like, FA Cup weekend, are people really invested in it? But I think with the ties that have come up, especially this season, for example, United play Liverpool, just one of the bigger games. I think the interest has been there. And especially when you get to the latter stages, especially if your team's still involved, you're thinking, you always want to win a trophy, don't you? So I think that's when, you get close, you think, one more game in the quarterfinals and you'll be at Wembley for the semis, and then it's anyone's game, isn't it? So I think as always, it always starts off with a bit of, do we care about it? And then you have a couple of shocks in the early rounds and you think, okay, this could be decent. And then, as you say, you get to this stage and you say it's all, it's up for grabs.
Richard, I actually wanted to talk about, because she said something about Wales, it kind of came to my head at that time. Gareth Bale did an interview recently, and sort of said, I'm here at Spurs for this season, but the plan is always to go back and just do my last season at Real Madrid. But the way the interview was, a lot of people are reading into it like, he just wants to go back and do what he needs to do. I'm sure you watched it. What did you make of Gareth Bale's interview?
I think for me, going to Spurs was an opportunity for him to kind of knuckle down, and obviously we know what he can do. We know he's a talented player, but after everything that's happened at Real Madrid over the last couple of seasons, it was a real opportunity for him. Okay, he's going back home in inverted commas. He can go and be one of the main men alongside Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, and really, help Spurs to kick on. And I think because that hasn't really happened, when he's now given his interviews, to say, oh, I was only trying to get fit for the Euros and I'm going back. Everyone's like, what's going on here? Because, when he, moved back to Spurs, there was real excitement. I'm not a Spurs fan, but I was excited to see him back and seeing what, how he link up with Kane and Son and Ndombele and stuff like that. And the fact he hasn't really done that, and now he's given interviews saying he's going back, it's like, not that he shortchanged them, but it's like, if it was setting that, the games are light and, was playing really well, you can say, fair enough. You've knuckled down and you can go back to Real Madrid if you want to do that, with your head held high and say, okay, look, Zinedine Zidane, I'm ready to challenge for my place again. But the fact he's not done that, then said, remember last year he was saying he wasn't happy in Madrid, now he's not happy at Spurs. It's almost a case of, okay, what's going on here? Obviously, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, of course, but I think from an outsider's perspective, I know a lot of people were a bit like, what's going on? So we hope he can get his form back, because especially for Wales going into the summer, you want your main men. You always want the best players to be playing well, don't you? But yeah, it does just hit a bit of a sour note, I think, for quite a lot of fans, I feel.
It's almost as if no matter where he is, he doesn't seem to be happy. Is it that he's just not happy playing football anymore? That, it's almost like you can't please him. Maybe he's not the player he used to be, so he's just not happy anywhere.
No, absolutely. I mean, as you say, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know whether there's issues there that we don't know about, which is just affecting him overall. But I know that on the face of it, whenever players kind of go to like on international duty, you always hear these interviews anyway, but let's say they're not happy and whatever. I give Pogba as an example. And when he's done that in the past, or his brothers or his agent or whatever, he gets absolutely slated. But then, like Bale saying that it's not having that same kind of effect. So I think, obviously I'm not a fan of double standards, and I just feel, just knuckle down until the rest of the season, help Spurs get into Europe, maybe win a trophy, and then decide maybe at the end of the season. But giving interviews mid-season is not helpful.
Yeah,
it's interesting when somebody comes out, and I'm a Man United fan, man, and we've seen a few things come out with Paul Pogba, but it's never been this up front. That interview when it came out, and he said it's basically the meme started to come out on Twitter saying that he used Spurs as a gym just to get fit for the Euros. But it's crazy because we know the power of the media. Obviously, we know the power of you guys and everything that you guys do. But when it's something like this and it's so abrupt and it's so in front of your face, it must be hard for Mourinho as well, man. Because he's got a player there who's talking like this, with possibly the aspirations of not even going any further. What does the manager do in this instance?
Yeah, so it's a good point. I mean, obviously the manager and also his teammates as well. Mourinho has his critics, and whether you agree with how he plays football or not, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, he's trying to do something with that squad of players, and that squad are trying to achieve something. Obviously, they got the League Cup final coming up quite soon, and obviously still trying to get into the European places. So there's still a lot to challenge for this season, and you need everyone on board. So when you've got a player saying that, especially at this stage of the season, it's really not helpful.
Definitely. Right, we'll talk about the Premier League season as a whole so far. It's been an absolutely crazy one. Obviously, there's no fans at any of the grounds, which has just made all kinds of stuff going on. We've had a lot of goals going on. It's just been a mad season. Obviously, Liverpool not having a good season. What have you made of the season, and have you enjoyed the fact that it's been so up and down? A team goes from 14th to top to 6th, and it's just all change.
Yeah, it's been a crazy one, hasn't it? I think obviously with such a truncated season, all the games kind of coming thick and fast. It's been manic, hasn't it? I mean, the season started off with just so many goals being scored, and you just think, is this what it's going to be like? Teams getting thrashed here, left, right, and centre. It's goal lights everywhere. It's kind of settled down a bit now. I think obviously as fatigue's kicking in and stuff like that, but I think with so much to play for and still so many games left, and the time, obviously there's not a lot of games left. We're going to see so many twists and turns. I think obviously apart from Man City, who probably won it now, Sheffield United are down. It's still, majority of teams have got something to play for, which at this stage of the season isn't always common. So, yeah, as you mentioned, like teams have gone on great runs, and as you say, United were top 4 bit. Even Liverpool were top. The beginning of December, Chelsea had a stage at the top, and then a bad run of form. And it's all kind of falling by the wayside. So teams will know that.
Spurs were top at one point as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. So many teams have been at the summit. So you're just thinking, okay, all it takes is just a good run, and you're in the Champions League places or Europa League, or you save yourself from relegation. So I think teams will be looking, after this international break, get it out of the way, just get a good run together and see where it takes you.
Well, what do you put this crazy season down to? We've seen, like you said, we've seen the top change hands so many times. At one time, Spurs were winning the league. One time, Man United were going to win the league. And now it's Man City who look like they're all going to actually win the league. But what do you put it down to? We know there's no fans in the stadium, so maybe less pressure. But in your eyes, what would you say has been the main factors?
I think not having the fans there does change the dynamic a bit, because I think, obviously you've got fans there, you have the adrenaline, it brings a different kind of pressure. Whereas no fans are there, you're almost playing the fact that added inhibition. So especially at the start of the season, we saw so many, goals being scored, and, everything was quite gung-ho. And also as well, the game's coming so quickly, teams don't really have that time in the training ground to really hone, tactics or strategies and stuff like that. So it's been difficult for managers to really kind of get that consistency going. And with so many games coming as well, she's seen so many injuries. As Ali mentioned, obviously Liverpool, you've got Leicester, who've been really unlucky. I think the majority of teams have really struggled with that. And I think that's why we're seeing Man City doing so well, because they've got the biggest squad, the biggest depth as well, that they're able to rotate. They can rotate 6, 7, 8 players and still have a team which is far better than their opponent. Especially in a season like this, where there's so many games thick and fast, they can rest players and still bring in that quality to, and as they've shown, they're walking it now.
If we look towards the bottom of the table, as you say, Sheffield United it looks like that's it for them. But just above that, it's sort of chop and change quite a lot. But obviously, last weekend, Brighton beat Newcastle, which is not great for Newcastle. They are, they're both down the bottom. Although I think that the sort of Steve Bruce is fine. The owner said he's going to stick with him. But it's not looking good for Newcastle, is it? I think that's maybe a team that wasn't expecting to be in that position at this stage in the season.
No, not at all. I think obviously the issues that have been well documented, just in terms of, we know the fans aren't happy with the owner, not happy with the manager, but there was always that feeling that as long as they kind of stay kind of within mid-table and are relatively safe, then it won't be any issues. But I think that there's one win in 18, 19, probably worse than that, off the top of my head. It's frankly not good enough. And when you're having teams like Brighton, who, play good football and have been unlucky on the other side because they've just been missing too many chances. You've got Fulham, who were building up momentum, and before last week, Burnley started winning games. We've seen how quickly Newcastle have gone from relative safety and just mid-table obscurity to now really, really in trouble. And they're running. I mean, obviously they got Fulham on the last day. They've already lost to Brighton, who's obviously left a relegation rival, and they've got a couple left within this run-in. You do fear for them. As I say, if Fulham start picking up wins again, then you're looking at Newcastle and thinking, well, you're only going one way, which is down, whereas other teams at least are kind of showing signs of progression. So fearful for them. But again, all it takes is that run, 2-3 games, and they'll set a bit of daylight between themselves and the relegation zone.
Actually, Rich, I wanted to ask you, talking about the relegation battle, and you spoke about Sheffield United there. On Sky Sports today, the Sheffield United owner, Prince Abdullah, came and did an interview, and it's weird because you never really get to see this, but he talked about Chris Wilder's sacking, and he said that Chris Wilder tried to resign twice. We didn't want him to resign, but when he did, he wanted this amount of money, but we couldn't give him this amount of money because he wanted to resign and not fire him. It was weird because you never get the situation where an owner comes out and is this, like we spoke about Gareth Bale there, where he was really honest. We got an owner who's come out and is being really honest about this. What did you make of that? Because I found that really weird. I've never seen it before. I don't think we've seen like the Fulham owner tweet a few things before, but we've never seen anything like this. What did you make of it?
No, you're right. I think, look, as a fan, you always want honesty, you want transparency. So while they may not have been happy with the sacking, or maybe some were, at least, you know, they can, you know, the fans can say, look, at least we know what the owners are thinking. We know what's going on behind the scenes. You know, we know that it probably wasn't as rosy as it has been. You look at what Chris Wilder's done over the years there, getting them from League One to the Premier League and pretty much, you know, building a club and everything like that. Whether there's a power struggle or what, we don't know. But maybe this is the owner just trying to assert that and saying, look, you know, this is what's happened, and trying to put the matter to bed. Which, as you say, now he's come out and done that, everyone knows what's going on or what's happened, and maybe it does put it to bed. You know, maybe if he didn't come out, it begins to fester, things start to leak, rumours start to spread. So he's given his side of it, and it'd be interesting to see what the ramifications of that are. But as I say, as fans, all fans want is transparency, and you know, we don't always see owners coming out and doing that. So the fact that he's given that visibility is really interesting.
Do you think that it might be the start of things to come? You know, that maybe managers and owners and people generally in the football world, because you always hear things happen and you hear rumours, you don't know what's true, you never get told whether it's true or not. But do you think it's sort of a sign of things that maybe people should just be more upfront, and then the rumour mill doesn't keep going?
Yeah, I think obviously from our perspective, like in the media, you know, I feel like we're quite lucky at the Athletic anyway, because our Sheffield United guys like Richard Sutcliffe is very much on the ball with these things. So, you know, he'd kind of keep his ear to the ground and get this information and stuff. But I just think, yeah, getting that stuff out there from a club's perspective, it just stops all the, like I say, the rumours coming out, which can be damaging. And now, if there are any extra stories to come out as a result of that, you know, people were thinking, well, the owner's already said what's gone on. He's been very, very open, and okay, let's move on now.
Richard, just a question that we sort of ask before we end any of our shows is the greatest player you've ever seen play live. Who is that?
Play live? Wow. It's probably like Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know why I thought so long about that, because it can only be Ronaldo and Messi. And like, I've not seen Messi play, but I've seen Ronaldo play, so it has to be him. Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you see him do what he does on the telly, it's obviously brilliant. But when you're like there up close and seeing, like, you know, his pace, his trickery, and all it is as well is his desire to like get on the end of things as well. Which when you see it in the flesh, you just kind of see like how much these guys want to get him in the end of crosses, or maybe if there's a bit of movement to get away from his marker, or that bit of skill. It just looks so much more special in the flesh, doesn't it? So no, by far, you know, Ronaldo. As I say, I don't know why I thought so long about that, because it can only be one of two people, and as I say, I've not seen Messi, so yeah, it can only be Ronaldo.
No, it's true. When you do see someone live, especially someone that great, you really do appreciate how skilled they are. I watched Ronaldo for years playing at United, because I used to sort of go to a lot of games there, and watching him on the left wing, man, he was just out of this world. But yeah, we've been blessed to have Messi and Ronaldo. Actually, going off that, then we've been blessed to have Messi and Ronaldo. Now it seems that the two hot shots, the two players that could be taking their thrones, is Kylian Mbappe and Erling Haaland. Talk to me about these two, man. These two stars who look like they're gonna really dominate football for a good couple of years.
Who's better? Who is better?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I was hoping you weren't going to ask me that. Why are you doing this to me? No, obviously, as neutrals, it's exciting. I mean, you know, all we want to see is exciting young players, you know, doing their thing in the pitch. And you've got Mbappe, who is just lightning pace, finishing's incredible, movement's insane. Like, not really see anything like it, probably apart from maybe Brazilian Ronaldo back in the day, just in terms of like his pace on the ball, but off the ball as well. It's just, he's lightning, he's so quick. And he does it in big games as well. And Haaland is just a machine, isn't he? I mean, may not be technically the best, but in terms of like when he gets on the ball, when he's in and around the box, it's just an animal. One touch, bang, bottom corner, top corner, heading, both feet is phenomenal to watch. I'm just trying to waffle, so I don't have to answer the question. But but no, I think we're lucky to see both of them. To be honest, it's a shame that maybe that they're not in the Premier League at the moment. Hopefully, one of the clubs dumps out the money, just as a neutral, of course. And yeah, as you say, they're both frightening players, and the fact they're so young, they've still got 10, 15 years. They can maintain the level that they're showing now. They can go on to break all records.
It is a very exciting time. I think we are lucky that, and in a way, it's quite good that there's another two. Like there's always the competition between Messi and Ronaldo, but it's nice that there's two that are going to be potentially in competition, because it just raises their game then. So then,
no, definitely.
They're not just the outstanding great one. It's good to have two.
No, definitely. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's always, I guess, like it just builds that narrative, Haaland against Mbappe, Messi, Ronaldo, blah, blah, blah. I was talking about this the other day, actually, because, like, obviously you've got, like, Messi, Ronaldo, like, this generation. You've got Haaland and Mbappe of this generation, and there's kind of, like, a void in the middle. And obviously, like, you've got people like Neymar, who was an incredible player, but for some reason he's not. I think he's amazing. I would always say that Neymar's like next up after Messi, Ronaldo, but for one reason or another, he's not. He doesn't appeal to like that wide audience, which like unless like Haaland or Mbappe do, for one reason or another. But yeah, it's almost as if like he's almost been missed out in that conversation. But I mean, bypassing him now. He's not even old, is he? He's not even 30, so it's scary because he's still got time left. But I guess the way things move on so quickly, it's almost like, hey, he's there, but now is who's next up? Haaland and Mbappe, and yeah, it's hopefully they stay injury free. They can dominate football for, you say, next 10, 15 years.
I think it's a discussion. We'll see over the next maybe 10 years on whether their longevity. We saw Messi and Ronaldo, man. These guys have. You can tell they're athletes. You can tell they live the life, because Ronaldo's 36 or whatever he is, and he's still, first of all, looks like he's 26, and he's got the physique and everything, but he's still playing good football. It's not like he's too much of a decline for people to say that Ronaldo's finished. He isn't really finished. Messi's the same, gone on for years, man. We know Messi was always a special talent, but even in regards to special talent, he's outlasted that tag. So it'll be interesting to see how Haaland and Mbappe get on in regards to longevity as well. But yeah, Richard, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to yourself. We've had to grab you on the lockdown days where everyone's wearing a cap, man. So you know how it is with that cap, man. Don't worry.
You know what? My hair is honestly so wild that like when I was putting the cap on, you can see it coming out the sides. I was like, do I just try and comb it and show the wildness, or do I try and hide it? And it just, either way, it just looks terrible anyway.
Not to make you jealous, but the hairdressers and barbers in Wales are back open, so we can not mine, but yeah, they're back open in Wales. So everyone's looking good in Wales now.
Lucky. Listen, I'm not even too far from Wales, I'm have to drive down and just
come down.
Yeah. Although cut that bit out because I don't want
no, you're going there for work. It's fine. We understand. Don't worry. Richard, listen, it's been a pleasure, man. We'll hopefully get you back on at some point in the future where we can sort of discuss more things. But thank you very much for talking to Sportology TV, man.
No, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's great speaking to you guys. And yeah, obviously, we need me back on. Happy to get involved.
Perfect. Thanks, Rich. It's been great talking to you. Thank you.
You guys. Thank you very much. Take care.
You too. Great to be joined there by Richard Amofa. And guys, make sure you stay tuned because we have lots more lined up. We've got some great guests who are due to come on. So please do what you can to support the channel. Leave some comments, like, share, whatever you can. We do appreciate it. Let people know about the channel and stay tuned. We will see you next time.